the ideas and discussing. I mean, before this panel, we have a lot of discussions. So we have a great panel, and it is just my pleasure to welcome you all. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you, Carlos. And I'll just give the word now and pass the torch to our moderator, Raymond, who is a great expert in these areas. And so he can make the introductions and kick off the panel. Thank you very much again.
Hey, thank you, Jorge Ferraez, who has been a dear friend of mine for over 10 years, maybe even 15 years. And as I look at this beautiful panel, or the list of panelists, I feel young and attractive because I'm surrounded by like good energy that comes along with this. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the new generation of ERGs, the power of engagement. I feel engaged, full of life, and the panelists with me feel likewise, fully engaged into this program. So delighted to be here. I wanted to say just a few words. The U.S. Latino workforce today consists of about 30 million of us, 30 million and counting, with the opportunity to help catalyze and rebound this new mainstream economy that we call the American economy. The ERG models that we're going to be talking about specifically, and its leadership and membership working with our businesses, leaders, and the HR leaders can help to achieve the change that we so desperately need to include many, many more of you and many more of us in our workforce, particularly in the leadership roles that we have across geographies, industries, and professions. You know, I want to see many actuarial Latinos. You know, I don't see many of those. We got to find some of those, you know. With us today, we have phenomenal, really phenomenal, talented young leaders who are taking charge in not just improving their careers, but the careers of many. And for that, we owe them a debt of gratitude in what they do. And for you as audience, we hope that you walk away with lots of nuggets that you can take in your own companies, improve in your departments, and show progress to your leaders, both in terms of talent and in terms of business ROI. I encourage you to take some notes, save them for later. We'll ask some questions and we'll have some answers for you along the way. So let's, without further ado, just introduce really the panelists very, very quickly. And with us, we have Karen Schultz. And even though Schultz doesn't sound like a Latino name, she is in fact Latina of Mexican descent. She frequently moved when she was younger from the US to Mexico and has overcome monumental challenges, as she says herself, in the systemic and personal challenges that she's faced. And she did manage to earn a bachelor's degree while working multiple jobs to pay for her own education. Kudos to her. She's committed to the diversity initiative, and talk about passion. She's absolutely passionate about changing the narrative for Latinos in corporate America, particularly in STEM roles. I'm personally very impressed with her that she also worked for the Harley Davidson motorcycle company in Milwaukee as a motorcycle rider. Ooh, I want to share your contacts. Carlos Sierra comes to us from Guanajuato, Mexico, and he came to the U.S. at the tender age of 5. I don't know that he speaks Spanish still. He probably forgot all about it. He became very Americanizado. But he went on to become his first, within his family, to graduate from college and earn a bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin. And until last week, he was a business consultant with LinkedIn, leader of Ola, or co-leader of Ola. And we have lots of conversations to have with Carlos to support his career, because he will make great things and he'll continue to make us proud. Welcome, Carlos. With Gilbert. Gilbert is an engineer, a computer engineer, by the way, for those of you who are thinking, that's less than 6% of Latinos in that field. So I want to see it to go to about 16 in the next 5 years. So Gilbert, welcome. He is a senior engineer at Raytheon Missile Systems and holds an BA degree in computer engineering from the University of New Mexico, and also an MBA from Walden University. He represents, like I said, a very small group of Latino engineers and does it with both pride and humility. And I'm delighted to have you here. Gilbert, last but not least, is Gloria Gutierrez Soto, who is a member of the Cargill's Protein Business Operations and Supply Chain team. You can see the energy that comes right just looking at her face. She's responsible for early career and team training experiences that enhance the effectiveness of her teams. She has passion. She demonstrates that every day in what she does. And she herself says on LinkedIn that she's super energized being in that role that connects both the work that she does with diversity and inclusion activities. And she has the ability to scale, and I like that, to scale the from vision to fruition, from simple to complex environments, and transforms just work to passion. So welcome all your panelists here with us today. And let's just go into the questions. Is that okay? We'll start with Gloria because we left you for last introduction. So is the purpose and mission of your ERG meeting the expectations of your incoming younger professionals? And when you answer that, then tell me, is your purpose also helping to elevate the Latino talent? And if so, how?
Sure, absolutely. I'd certainly have to say we have to, right? We have to meet those expectations, and we are. Their expectations really contribute directly to what we're doing, right? Their expectations come from their different perspectives, and to really unlock Cargill's potential, we must have to include those perspectives and those abilities of a diverse workforce, right? And it really has to represent our customers and the communities that we serve. This is why we relate a little more with business resource groups, right? Business resource groups are the teams that are creating business value from the different perspectives that our employees have. And so at Cargill, proudly I can say that every person matters. Every person can make a difference because we know that there's that unique perspective, right? And our mission and purpose goes far beyond just young professionals. And our I&D efforts are really just not negotiable at Cargill, right? And we know that there are different dimensions. We know that there are different perspectives, and because of that, we've been able to represent that within the 9 resource groups that consist of many different chapters, hundreds of members across the globe, right? And we're making it a place where everyone could bring their self to work. And so, again, as you can imagine, this is a big shift. This is exactly what Latino talent has been waiting for. And the power, the webinar topic today is the power of engagement, right? And the power of engagement is there. It's visible. It's attracting many Hispanic Latinos to Cargill, and our BRGs are offering development experiences, top-notch mentorship programs, professional development, opportunities to connect our employees across the globe, right? We're a global company, we can do that. And we have Hispanic leaders that have grown with Cargill and have been involved with our BRGs, and they continue to feel empowered to lead in their respective communities. And so with that said, we also have engagement of vital executive sponsors and leaders, specifically for our Hispanic Latino Council. And what this is doing is it's really strengthening our programs, and it's giving us exposure across the organization. And so I really want to say with that, I'm really proud. We as Cargill are very proud that our Hispanic Latino Council executive sponsor, Pilar Cruz, was recognized as one of the 100 influential Latinas for Latino leaders. And so for us, that's an inspiration. Here's another example. Our current cycle of the mentorship program doubled this year, right? It's connected emerging talent, Hispanic talent, with senior mentors, with executive leaders. And this exactly is what elevating Latino looks like, right? The topic, couldn't have came any better. And I'll leave it with this, is the last example I want to share is that just last week, our Hispanic Latino Council, our leaders said, we need to refresh our vision, right? Our vision, our Hispanic Latino Council vision. And Cargill specifically assigned resources to help our council do this. With the help of Diana Sadler, she's an organizational development consultant at Cargill. She's phenomenal. And to be able to be assigned to a workshop to help facilitate more than 20 Hispanic council leaders across Cargill to come together and redesign our vision, which we know is going to drive our purpose and mission at Cargill, is really, if you get Cargill Hispanic Latinos together to brainstorm, it's powerful. And it is effective. And so, yes, I certainly would say that our purpose is coming to fruition. It's providing more exposure. It's providing more opportunities. And the more growth that we have, the more we can better contribute to Cargill with our Latino Hispanic talent.
Wow. If I were younger, I would be applying for a job right there. I'm telling you.
All right. Come on.
Gilbert, thank you for those inspiring, motivational comments. Gilbert, do you have any additions to the question about mission and making the elevation of the talent within your own company at Raytheon?
Oh, absolutely. Gloria put it out there and did a very good job. But, our job as ERG leaders and the ERGs, driven for our company, Raytheon Technologies, is creating a pipeline of good talent, right? We're the solution. We can be the solution. We know we can be the solution. And we just need that pipeline into the corporate and the executive environment. So we as well, we have, the executive sponsors that push and drive for us to bring out the best talent. And they're always looking for us to also, what is our 1 year, 2 year, 5 year plan? How do we go into the future, and how do we ensure that, this is not just an individual time, but that we actually set up a platform to ensure that we always have the best talent, and, we have a very diverse group going forward. So they're always pushing for that. And I mean, I couldn't say it any better. And Gloria took a lot of the same points that we do at Raytheon Technologies. We push, we strive, they're there, they're open, they're always looking for the next solution and the next talent. And, we are that solution. And if we continue to drive and push with our ERGs and being that business partner going forward, we can ensure that, again, we'll have a platform long into the future.
I like the short and long-term vision of what you're discussing here. So I've been doing this for 30 years, and when I worked at Aetna, we started discussing whether it should be an employee resource group, a business resource group, an employee network, an affinity group. And those are not the right discussions to have. It's how are we impacting the business, right? Through talent and business. So we got to the right place, and clearly 6 years after, you're still doing the right thing. So I appreciate that. Moving on to Karen Schultz with a question for you. What are the most common challenges to ensure Latinos are feeling included and they belong, whether they have an accent, whether they don't speak the language as well, whether they don't understand the cultural blind spots and things like that? What are the most common challenges?
Well, I don't like to generalize because I think everybody's experience is different. And I can speak to what my own journey and what I've encountered as a challenge as I've gone through the corporate world as the first in my family. So I will try to sum it up in three points, but there is a very, very long list. And I hope that we can see if anybody identifies by putting if they agree in the chat. But number one, feeling as our background and our experience is not valid or worthy. Just because my background, my educational background is not the same as somebody else's, or my work experience looks different of, I took a different path and it doesn't look the same as my counterparts. And we feel that, the environment that we go into, we don't belong, but it's not, different. It's not different than anybody else or any other minority that's experiencing fitting into the corporate world. The one difference that is that I can point out is not only do we have internal doubts, but we have external pressure to fit a mold or fit that mold that maybe we don't want to fit, right? The stereotypes, the media representation and everything. And as we go up and progress the corporate ladder or to a higher responsibility, we have the weight on our shoulders of saying, I am representing Latinos, I am representing women or young professionals, and we take it at that pressure. So definitely number one, feeling as we're not worthy, we're not valid or valued. And I can speak to a story that actually happened for those that have already checked me out on LinkedIn. I actually used to work with Gloria at Cargill, and that's how we know each other. Wow. But I remember one time when I was going I was new and I said to somebody, I'm not being invited to the meetings. I don't think I am liked, or maybe they don't think I have something to offer. And this person says, since when do you need an invite? Just show up. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. Since when do Latinos need an invite? Somos buenos de colados. Is that not true? We crash parties, quinceañeras, bautizos. We can crash a meeting, right? So that's one thing, that don't ever feel like you're not worthy. If they don't invite you, don't wait for them to invite you. You go show up. And if they tell you, well, this isn't for you, well, why not? And that's one thing that I've seen as a challenge as I've gone. Number two, as you said, Raymond, cultural blind spots. And for those that don't know what a cultural blind spot is that characteristic that you grew up with that you never question. And I'll give you an example. We as Latinos, and I won't say that it applies to everybody, but I was told, be humble, work hard, And, you know, do not brag. Do not brag. Porque eres un presumido. You're showing off. And that is not okay. That is not okay. You just work hard. But, you know, I have caught myself so many times in my career saying or convincing my boss, you know, don't post that promotion. I don't want that attention. As long as the people close to me know that I got the promotion, that will be okay. That is wrong. It is so wrong. And you know why it's wrong? Because there's people that are coming into the company looking for a role model, looking for an inspiration. There's people in our community, in our towns saying, oh my God, I knew Carlos from high school. I am so glad he's doing well. I should reach out to him to see how he's doing so well in his industry. I want to be like him or something. So it's such a disservice to do that, to say, I'm going to be humble because that's how I was taught and I'm not going to brag. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for other people, because we need that. And I need it. I constantly look for other Latinos within Caterpillar that can serve as role models, that can tell me what is ahead and how can I better prepare. And then the last point that I will say, because I know I ramble, is finding a community. That is the number one challenge. When you enter the workplace, the corporate workplace, finding that community that shares your struggles, shares your successes, shares your fears and doubts, definitely. And that's when ERGs come to mind. We form a family. And I was just, before we went live, I was just sharing with Jorge, in our panel, we have people represented from all Latin America, Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Mexico, and we have somebody from Indiana. He learned Spanish and he is on our board and he supports us in so many ways. And there's so many people, wonderful people at Caterpillar that support Latinos. But that is one challenge that I have seen at varying degrees, whether it's a small business, a nonprofit, a corporation, a big like Cargill, like Harley Davidson, like Caterpillar, finding a community that gets you. Because a lot of us, it's our first time being in corporate America. We can't pick up the phone and say, hey, Mom, what should I do for my next career progression? Hey, I'm struggling with this professional decision here. What can I do? They have not lived in this world, and they can't, no matter how much moral support, they can't relate. And that's when employee resource groups are so important. Associations outside of Caterpillar, or even within Caterpillar, we come together and we share our fears and we share information. And those are the challenges: feeling like we don't belong. We have our own culture blind spots that we don't even know about. You know, cutting ourselves short because, oh, we have an accent, I shouldn't present. I have friends in Brazil and Mexico. They send me, hey, I'm going to post this, but I don't think I got the sentence structure right. Can you look at it for me? Of course. And then anytime I need to post anything in Spanish, I go to them. And that's how we support each other. We don't need any, a grand title. We don't need to be an executive. We don't need to be a manager to support other Latinos. Most of the work is being done by the ERGs. We are the ones helping other people feel included. We are the ones that are saying, good morning, ¿cómo te va? How can I help you? Yes, you can do it. Congratulations on that promotion. And it's not the job of the few CEO Latinos. It is not the job of few executives to help Latinos. It's our job to support each other. And I will leave it at that. I can talk for hours, but I will leave it at that.
We would listen to you for hours, Karen. And I'm with my friend Martita Mesti, who said, Karen for president. I'm for that. She wrote on the messages. I don't know if you saw it, but it was great. Carlos, any additional comments that you can think through these challenges faced by Latinos that you can share with us?
Of course I can. First of all, thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure to hear everybody's story, and I'm humbled to be here and have a seat at the table with you all. Just a little background about me. I was a former business development consultant at LinkedIn. I was coming on my 1-year anniversary. I started in the business leadership program. It's a rotational program that grooms undergraduate college students to be a business leader of tomorrow. And unfortunately, last week we got laid off. Not my whole program. LinkedIn cut 6% of the workforce, and my role was one of those that was eliminated. So right now I'm going to pursue a dream that I've had, and I want to empower and prepare the next generation of Latinx professionals. And that'll be more to talk about. So one thing that I learned in my time with LinkedIn and serving on the people success platform was on the topic of belonging. Karen, you touched a lot about it. It's not necessarily in us versus them, the minority population versus the majority of the population. Belonging in itself is how everyone feels inside going to an organization. We don't need the majority of the population feeling like they're the enemy. We need everybody to create an inclusive environment. And that's something that they've taught really well where I was in my role. And how we can do that is communicate from the top down, whether it's the CEO wants to improve the culture down to the HR team, from the HR team to the different managers, but everyone's got to be on that same page. Mm-hmm. And going to my personal experiences, I haven't always had the prettiest experience being Latino, coming from where I'm from and not speaking, properly and saying some words is a little different than others. I have struggled moving up to where I am, to where I was in corporate America. There's been times where I've been told, you're not ready yet to be promoted to the next role. I understand. Okay, I see my flaws, and I'm very self-aware of where I'm at. Where are my negatives? And like being the top performer, the results may be there, but something else is missing. And personally, it didn't really affect me much. But when I saw who else was not able to be promoted, I saw other Latinx employees there. I'm like, what? That's a common pattern that we see in numerous places in corporate America. I can speak to, other tech companies. I have friends from all over the United States. Speaking to a friend a couple of days ago, she works at a top tech company here in the United States. And similar to the whole meeting that you're talking about, they have a party coming up, a happy hour, and they don't invite her. Like, what is that? And the CEO of this company has mentioned, we want to create an inclusive environment, reinvent that culture. There's a gap there. Where is that gap? And I strongly believe that that's within the communication. You got to funnel that down, make sure that everyone's on the same playing field. And if the CEO, that leader is very intentional in making a purpose and change that culture, have a tangible action plan with very, and take action on that effective and hold accountability to your word because it's challenging when you're facing that. But I would also say to all the Latino employees out there too, step up, step up in those positions of lead, encourage one another. They say that el peor enemigo de un Latino es otro Latino, right? But we got to change that. We got to encourage each other, pat each other on the back, say congratulations to each other, be a community, because America's future is tied with our community, the Latinx community. We're the largest minority group and we're only growing from here. I'll leave it there.
That was fantastic. Full of passion. All the panelists have so much to say and so much passion to bring forth. And I think you're spot on. I'll say to anybody listening as well is like sometimes as Latinos, we tend to be needy to the extent that we want to be liked. And if you find yourself that everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong. It's okay for everybody to respect you, but they don't have to like you. And every now and then you have to be a little bit tough. And it's unfortunate that sometimes you find yourself in that situation. Same with you, Carlos, though. If you could talk to a few executives in corporate America today, LinkedIn or otherwise, on what they need to change today to support the Latino professional community, what would that look like? What would that be? What would you say?
That's a great question. And I will go right back off of what I was just saying. Be intentional and hold yourself accountable to your initiatives, business initiatives. There's a New York Times article that was released a couple weeks ago, I believe. They talked about the CEO of Microsoft and a couple other tech CEOs that are now getting a bonus based on their diversity and belonging efforts, which is great. We're making a movement there. It's driving more of that internal motivation. But we need to, when it comes to the diversity, we need to fully understand what it means to create a diverse environment and make it a policy. By no means am I an expert or anything, but I'm saying that they have a phenomenal training program at LinkedIn and everything that I was able to learn. And it starts with everyone feeling included. And to our community, I would say to CEOs and different executives, understand our strengths. What are our challenges? learn about us, because I strongly believe that will make you a more effective leader and help you run your business more effectively with compassion as well. Understand where we're coming from. And secondly, I would say create different programs that, like Karen and Gloria were mentioning, like employee resource groups where we do feel included, where you got new Latinx employees joining a company, and then there's groups that look like them, and then that will start to once again touch on that belonging, and they feel like they can belong. And there's a million data points that say that a person's belonging is tied to their engagement and how they bring their full self to work. So that's just going to make somebody more productive. With more productivity, more productive employees, I mean, you can answer that. It's going to eventually, produce the bottom line and increase that as well. So just to recap, understanding the strengths, weaknesses, where we are, be a compassionate leader, and take action on that. Start creating those different programs.
And get to know us. I like what you said. Also, you added to say get to know us, because you can't you can't assume that because you happen to be Hispanic that you are this or that way. And individuals act differently, and they are different. So, Karen, any additions that you may have to this question?
Ooh, the things I would say, if you have not seen, if I had the CEO, the executives right in front of me, I think I would probably need at least 3 hours, because I am full of ideas. But I will only add one action item that I would love to see implemented at Cargill, Raytheon, LinkedIn, Caterpillar, everywhere, is shadow boards. Has anybody heard about shadow boards? Board of directors? No? Anybody? No? In the chat? Yes? So what is a shadow board of directors, or a mirror board? It's a board of directors composed of non-executive employees that come from different backgrounds, and they are given a task or a challenge that is basically a business problem to solve, and they come up with solutions. They analyze it through their lens, and they come back and they report their findings and their solutions to the actual board or the leadership at their facility. It doesn't have to go all the way to executives, because access or time to that might not be practical. But that's something that it does not take a long time to implement if it's done wrong. You have passionate people. So what is one of the things that, as you progress to CEO, as executive, one thing that you lack, one resource that you lack, is time. Energy. If you don't have time, if you don't have mental energy or physical energy, you can't be creative in solving problems that you face. And what is something that all of us here on this panel have? Energy, time, motivation, ganas. We can definitely have, we also are also on the ground. So we can also have different solutions that others are not seeing, because let's face it, I've been in HR too, and I'm not in HR anymore. But just because your title says HR, just because your title says manager or CEO, people may not open up to you. Oh no, I shouldn't say that to the HR person because maybe they'll fire me, right? So as ERGs and as another employee, you can definitely see the struggles, and you can definitely see different things, connect with the dealers, connect with the customers, connect with the riders at Harley Davidson, because they see you as another employee, as one of them. And I would love to see shadow boards implemented at different facilities, no matter if you're a nonprofit, a small business, or anything. We need to get in the room. I don't know about everybody else, but I spent a lot of my time translating when I was younger. Me decía, and my mom would say, if you know English, why don't you know how to, this legal document? ¿De qué te sirve el inglés? And I'm like, Mom, I'm only 9 years old. How can I read this legal document? But being in the room with the attorney, the doctor, I translated my own parent-teacher conferences, and I'd be like, the teacher said I'm great. That's all she said. But being in the room and talking, face to face, or just being a fly on the wall, or being in the room to observe, that's where we learn the most. We learn so much by observation. Everything that I have learned and this energy that I have and this who I am, I learned it from the people that I worked at Cargill, people from Harley Davidson, and I continue to learn it from different leaders at Caterpillar. And I know you said that everybody's going to want to work for Cargill, but I don't know. I think Caterpillar is a place to work because we have wonderful people.
Both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. I think I have one more question for the panelists before we open it up to the entire audience that we have here. And this is going to start with Gil. Gil, going to you, it says, what successful ways has your ERG been able to help the newest generation of Latinos at work, or maybe the Hispanic community at large in where your company works, where your company resides?
So,
success story.
Our title, our ERG is HOLA. That's the name of our ERG, and Hispanic Organization for Leadership and Advancement. So that is our mission at the ERG level and what we've brought to the business. But I mean, I was taking some notes, took a key from you. If you look across the board, one thing that the ERG has helped, not just me, working with Raytheon, Caterpillar, everybody out there, look at us right here, Instant Network. Right now, a bunch of us who have never really interacted other than conference call, and we have an instant network, right? Now I have Karen as a friend. Now I have Gloria out there. Now I have Carlos. So the instant network from an ERG. But how do we bring that back to the company? And as your point earlier, show the ROI and the business justification for what we do, right? So as an ERG, what we do, because we are in a heavily Hispanic community, I'm going to rattle off just some places that we are. So we mentor across the board. So we go into the elementary schools where we do math nights. We go to the middle schools where we do mentoring and tutoring. High schools, college. We're in the workforce. We're in the community. We're helping with food banks. We're everywhere. When Raytheon, ERGs, and OLA in general steps up, we go to every level. So for us, kind of, I think it was Gloria that said, the way I took it was leverage. We're building that pipeline and pushing for the next generations because we have to be at the lowest common denominator, right? We can help work right now, but how do we ensure that the Hispanics of the future are also going to have that place to go? So we hit all and every level. Some of our ROI, Karen said it very well, we have translation and we've had to help on contracts. So instead of Raytheon going off and looking for another company to actually, help build contracts, they reached out to the ERG and to us to go to complete their contracts for them when they have to do it in other languages. So that was a great place to be. I think Karen said it, perfectly. We're shy. Sometimes, a lot of times, I found myself over the years, and I think I discussed this with the panel earlier. I found myself working hard, waiting for someone to recognize me. Mm-hmm. And as a community, we can't be that way. So what we do as an ERG is we give individuals the opportunity to go off and meet with the executives, right? Karen said that she would like to talk to the executives. Well, our executives actually come down and they have intimate meetings, 15-by-1s, where they sit down and they talk with the newest engineers that we have in our company and explain how they got to where they're going and how they can help and support. And it's not just the Hispanics that are out there, but our executives are of all diverse, very diverse group, and they're always looking to push us and bring that next level in. It's all about being inclusive, right? The biggest thing that we, that everybody enjoys with our OLA culture and our ERG is, we're familia. I know I heard that already once, but we're familia, and we've shown that in times of need. We worked with our executives when the hurricane hit Puerto Rico, mm-hmm. and we flew food in. That and again, right? Just because because we're not big on promoting ourselves. They flew food in, they flew water in, not communicated, just doing our job. Let's see, I think I hit on everything I wanted to, but I mean, yeah, just coming up to the challenge. We're the solution. We can be the solution. We just have to ensure that we are exactly present ourselves, present those below us, lead from in front, lead from behind, lead from the side, and just continue to drive the good work that we bring.
I like it, Gilbert. I think that if we were to unite to talk about what Carlos mentioned earlier in terms of instead of sometimes bringing each other down, instead of lifting each other up collectively, that we will be unstoppable. We'll be unstoppable. I challenge the people on the audience, in fact, to try to help someone in a meaningful way, at least once a week. I try to do that once a day. I know Jose Socorro, who is phenomenal, does this all day long. I don't know how he does his job, in fact. So let's keep doing what we're doing, but let's do more of it because we need to do it. Gloria, same question. So what has the company done to support the young Latinos at work or the communities where the company is? And you're on mute, Gloria, just as a reminder. Unless we lost her for a second. Oh, there we go. I see you moving. You looked funny there, moved very fast. Can you hear us? We're having oh, there we go. Okay, did you hear the question, Gloria?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. In and out, but I did hear it, and thank you for that. And I will add just a little bit to respect our time here. In terms of the perspective here at Cargill is, we first of all are all of the companies are very proud, right, of our BRG efforts. Cargill is super proud, and we have strong Latino leaders. We know that they are demonstrating an outpour of support to our Latino communities. But let me give you one specific example in terms of how we're helping our communities thrive. One example is Cargill has signed a Hispanic promise with We Are All Human. And through that channel, we've been able to help our external communities and be a true community sponsor during these unprecedented times of COVID-19, right? And so we recently joined forces with We Are All Human and the P&G, Procter & Gamble, to mobilize efforts and to support our Hispanic communities being impacted by this pandemic. In detail, Cargill and Roomba Meats, for those who aren't familiar with, it's a meat brand that we produce that is focused on celebrating family and keeping Latino traditions alive. And so we partnered together with the United States of Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And what we did is we launched this new emergency economic relief grants program. And this program specifically is to help assist small businesses affected by COVID-19, specifically in high density markets in the US. And so what these donations are going to be used for is to be able to assist our Hispanic communities with bilingual technical assistance. For example, filling out applications. Karen called this out earlier, right? Is we've grown up having that challenge. And so this assistance is targeting specifically that challenge to help them fill out applications so they can take opportunities to pursue emergency economic relief, right? And one small other example I'll share too for sake of time is another way Cargill has really impacted it is through, education. Very prime example, Daniela Loera, first generation graduate. She graduated from Derby High School in 2019. She was a free and reduced meals high school student and comes from a single family household. She received a 2-year matching scholarship from Cargill and Kansas State University through the Kansas Hispanic Education Development Foundation. Today, she continues being a member of the Multicultural Business Association, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, the Hispanic American Leadership Organization. She's helping fundraise for committees to help them plan and implement events that are ultimately really have that goal of fundraising to help each organization grow. And these opportunities are going beyond just a mere scholarship. They are elevating Latino talent, young Latino talent, and they're providing new opportunities, right? And so I'll close with this. I want to tell everybody, all the inspired Hispanic Latinos out there, BRGs exist. We are a resource for not only the business, but also for employees. And Hispanic Latinos are here at Cargill. They are present, They are thriving in communities where we live in, and we are doing this together with our business to build the stronger, most diverse, and most inclusive company.
That's beautiful, Gloria. I noticed that naturally people were typing in questions in the message. I think I got them all, trying to multitask, and I got them. Paola is reminding us to write them and send them through the Q&A tab from now on, so we can get them and don't miss them. So I got them. I'm gonna pick a panelist. If you don't feel comfortable answering that question, we can get somebody else, because we don't want to make you uncomfortable. Some of them are a little bit tricky in how we get them answered. I'm going to give each panelist only a minute to answer that question. So you got to think it through, and as concise as you can be, just answer it, okay? Because we only have like 5 or 6 more minutes. So this is an interesting one for me, and maybe I'll give it to Carlos. Carlos, how do you collaborate with other ERGs that are doing their own thing within the company? Some of it is the same and some of it is different. How do you collaborate with them?
Well, now it's probably been the biggest challenge because everyone's remote, right?
Yep.
So I can speak to what we do now, and what we did when we were in person. Now we have a monthly check-in with all the Chicago ERG leaders to see what events are happening, what roles are open for leadership roles, because we want to encourage others to step up and lead. So then we just share like what's on top of mind, what are other challenges that we're having, and just making sure that everyone is collaborating and is an ally for one another. For example, if somebody has a big event coming up and they would want a little bit more support from another ERG, depending on, what the result that they want, we would ask them directly, hey, would you be able to help here, help align this, or can you volunteer for this? And that's another way, like if there's any events that are coming up and we need a lot of volunteers, we would send them out to other ERGs and let them know that this is happening. If anyone in your distro list is interested, let us know, and here's our contact information. So all through Zoom. In person, yeah. And in person, we had lunch and learns. We just met more, pretty much the same conversation, but in person. And we also set a time aside to just collaborate and just all the ERG leaders together to see what we can do to help each other.
That's right. And you can also on a regular basis do events that everybody's invited, right? So all of those things. I'm gonna start with Karen on this one. The person didn't write this, but I'll expand a little bit on it. What can we learn from the Black community about how to better support one another and rise within corporate America, entertainment, and politics? I'll give you an example that is applicable to ERGs and LinkedIn and other things that we use. I see how an African American new CFO is hired, and it's posted on LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn gets 5,000 likes, 3,000 comments, way to go. It's a sense of unity. We get a Carlos Soto who gets a new CEO and three people comment on it, as an example, but I'm exaggerating to make a point. But that is, so Karen, what can we learn from the African-American community to better support one another?
Well, I would say that we have a lot to learn. Actually, one of my very, very good friends who actually works at Raytheon, she is from the Black community, and we share. And it's an interesting story. We met through bodybuilding, so we did bodybuilding competitions together, and we met, and we go on hikes all the time. And what I have found is that our communities have so much in common. We do. Our upbringings are similar, similar challenges in corporate America, similar challenges in college and everything. And one thing that I will say that we have to learn, not only from the Black community, but from other communities, is the way they support each other. That if somebody has a promotion, somebody started a business, they go out there and they sincerely congratulate them and say, good job. Great job that you're doing this. Thank you for doing it. We see you. We know it's hard work, and they just support each other. And I think that's something that we're missing. We're not supporting each other the best that we can. And I don't know if it has to do, since we are battling our own internal demons, that we're so focused on ourselves and trying to improve ourselves. But there is so much beauty in serving others. You learn so much about yourself by helping somebody else, by explaining something to somebody else, like, oh, I didn't know I knew so much. But that's one thing that I would say that we have to learn from the Black community. And I saw in the chat that how do you collaborate with other ERGs, and are ERGs only internal? No, they're not. We do so much in the communities we live in. We are the bridge to the community because we know the needs of the community of, I know the needs of Tucson because I know the families here. I know the needs of Milwaukee because I know the Latino community there. And we collaborate with different ERGs. I led an event, the name of the event was Girls Experience Mining Day, and it was like over 180 people. And I did not say only girls or only women can volunteer. I said, everybody come, men as allies, you come over here because I want you to show girls that you're supporting them. Hey, ERGs, come and volunteer. We need people that are diverse and can make it engaging and fun because we need more people in our industry. So come and do this. We volunteer at high schools. Every the CLC here in Tucson, we have a community partner, which is a high school. And we also support SHIP at the college level. Any event that we put together, we invite the high schoolers and we invite SHIP because they need role models and they need people to aspire to and ask questions to. So definitely.
Thank you, Karen. We only have literally about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes left. And I think I have like 3 questions. I think I'm going to pick 2 of them. For this one, I'm going to ask everybody to answer them, but you only have about 4 seconds. Seriously, literally. And the question, there's 2 ways, it's a scale. From a scale perspective, 1 is being least, 10 is the most. What is the ERG access and influence to your suite, to the C-suite level within your company, right? So 10 would be your ERGs can see them once a quarter, once a week, or whatever it is, right? And then, so how does the ERG have access and influence to the C-suite? And the second one is, what is the Latino profile management within your company? So in other words, is it fantastic? Is it midpoint? Is it poor? So 1 to 10, I'm going to start with Gilbert. 1 to 10 for both questions. 1 to 10.
We are a 10, and we are probably doing very well, and we're close to an 8 or a 9.
Okay, so 8 or 9 for the second one. Carlos. 4 seconds.
8 and 6.
All right, Gloria.
Yes, we'll say that for the first one, I think we still have some work to do. So I'd probably say like maybe a 6. And then for the second one, same, I'd equal it to a 6.
Okay, some room for progress. Karen, last.
I will go with Gloria's number. I don't think that there is a such thing as a 10 because we are always continually improving. So, yes.
And the last question, I think, unfortunately, couldn't get to all of them. My apologies. Is what are we doing? And I think Carlos started talking about this a bit on post-COVID-19 systems and processes that have changed the world. What kind of the best practices you're working on that you could share? And I guess anyone can take it, but you have 30 seconds.
Grow, develop yourself. We have access to anyone in the world within the fingertips. Hop on LinkedIn, you find anyone, send them a message, learn from them. You see someone has a profile, anything that where you aspire to be, reach out to them. There's also a ton of courses. I mean, you got YouTube University, you got LinkedIn Learning, everything is on there, articles, everything like that. So develop this time. You're locked in the house, make it productive, work on yourself, reflect, and be thankful.
Thank you, Carlos. I am enormously proud of the job that the panelists did today. I want to do it virtual, and I don't know if it's going to be silent, but a nice clap to everybody. Really delighted to be here. I am honored, and I think you guys did a phenomenal job with us, and this discussion can continue probably for hours, and I hope to see you again in the near future. I'm going to pass it on to our leader, Jorge Ferraez, to close out the program today.
Well, thank you, Raymond. What a fantastic way to moderate a panel. I think the panelists showed enormous talent and enormous participation. Thank you to you four and Raymond, of course, for moderating. It was very energizing. It was very, we had a lot of comments at the beginning of the chat. It was just, people cheering yourselves and sending messages and all that. So we are very proud and we're very happy that we had this participation. Again, I want to say thank you. We know time and talent are the most valuable assets that we have, and you have devoted us a whole entire hour or even a little bit more. And of course, your talent and your experiences, that has no price. So thank you very much to all of you. Karen Schultz, thank you. Gloria Gutierrez, thank you. Carlos Sierra, Gilbert Mestas. We will keep involved, and we will keep you on the loop, and probably we will do a second chapter someday soon.
Yeah.
So
thanks to all the participants and all the emails that kept coming up, all the messages, it kept it going. Thank you, everybody.
All right. And with this, we say thank you. Thank you on behalf of Latino Leaders Magazine to all of you. And we will keep you connected on all these. Have a great weekend to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
All right.
Have a good weekend.